This video will cover setting up an OSF project space for sharing your research data. OSF can be an ideal platform for research data sharing if you're looking for a free and easy to learn platform, you want flexibility and control over the files that you're sharing, and if you need to comply with funder or publisher mandates for making your data accessible. However, OSF might not be suitable for you if you need to share sensitive or private health information. It also isn't ideal if you are looking for data curation services, which some other repositories offer. And finally, OSF currently limits data storage to 50 gigabytes on public projects, so it won't be suitable if you need to share more data than that. Before you share your data, make sure it's ready to be published. Specifically, make sure that any data from human participants has been appropriately de-identified, that your files are in open file formats where possible for easier access and reuse, and that your data is well documented. For example, through README files, data dictionaries, or codebooks, so that others can understand its collection, organization, and analysis. Once you have created your OSF project, the first thing you will want to do is upload your files, which you can do from this File section on the project overview. This section functions similarly to the File Explorer on your computer. It's a good idea to create folders, as I have done here, to better organize your files by grouping related ones together. If you have a small number of files, you can upload them first and then create folders for dividing them. If you have a large number of files, though, it's recommended that you create your folder structure first and then upload files directly to the folder you want them to be in by clicking on the folder and then clicking Upload. Either way, you can still move files around after uploading them by dragging and dropping them to the desired location. To make sure that others can use your files, it's a good idea to include a README file with documentation on your data. You can also include that information or related information to the wiki section so that other users will be able to see it right away. Once you've uploaded your files, you should assign your project a license so that others know how they are allowed to reuse your data files. If you want to maximize the ability of other researchers to reuse your data, then you should assign it a CC0 license, which indicates that you relinquish any copyright claim you may have to the content in your project and allow them to freely reproduce, reuse, or edit it. Given that datasets generally can't be copyrighted when they are exclusively collections of factual information, a CC0 license is a good choice for a project that contains exclusively data. Another good option is a CC BY license, which gives others the right to reproduce, reuse, or edit your project's contents, provided that they attribute you as its creator. A CC BY license might be the right choice if your project contains research outputs other than just data, such as presentation slides. Remember, copyright is a legal concept, not an ethical standard in research. Even if you give other researchers permission to reuse your data, they will still be expected to cite you and give you credit for what you provided. By the same token, don't assume that applying a more restrictive license makes it less likely for your work to be plagiarized. Speaking of citations, the next thing you should do is update your project citation to give proper credit to your collaborators. OSF creates default citations from your project's metadata, but you can customize it. For example, if there are additional creators who are not contributors to the OSF page, you will need to edit the citation to add them in. It's possible you may need to share your data with a peer reviewer or other individual before you're ready to make it publicly available. If this is the case, you can go to the Contributors tab and generate a view-only link to send to your reviewer. They will be able to use the link to review your files and other parts of your project, and they don't need their own OSF account, just the link. Once you've checked to make sure that everything is ready to be shared more widely, you can publish your project by clicking the Make Public button. Only do this after you've reviewed your data for any sensitive information. While it's possible to unpublish your project, it may be cached by a search engine or downloaded by a user during the time that it's public. Finally, once you've published your project, you should assign it a digital object identifier or DOI. A DOI is a persistent identifier for your project that makes it easier to find across platforms and helps distinguish it from other works with similar titles or other information, such as authors. Technically, any public project on OSF can have a DOI assigned to it, but they're generally used for the outputs of scholarly research. It is strongly recommended that you assign a DOI when sharing a collection of research data, but it may not be necessary for other content you're hosting, such as presentation slides. Those are all the steps you should take whenever you're sharing research data in OSF, but you may wish to enhance your project space further. If you have questions about how to do so, contact a librarian or other expert at your institution, or consult the documentation provided by OSF.